And g'day, welcome to another video. The MD-80 is the aircraft I'm taking for another flight today, although this particular one is an MD-90, just an updated version of the 88. That particular livery you see there is Japan Air Systems. They no longer exist. They were merged into Japan Airlines. But while they were around, they did fly the MD-90 all around Japan. I think mainly their flights were within Japan and not so much overseas flights. We're sitting at Osaka airport right now. It's freeware, downloadable from the org. I've downloaded a couple of tiles, ortho tiles around here too, just to make the scenery a little bit more interesting. I don't say it's a very big airport, but it has 2 runways. A nice big sign to let everybody know where they are. Now going inside, you'll see that I've got up a checklist here for the rotate. Normally when I fly the aircraft, I've got my own checklist on a tablet and I refer to it, refer to my memory for some of it, but that's still a fairly slow process when you're a single pilot. This aircraft really lends itself to a first officer to help out, because there are quite a lot of systems compared to your Boeings and your Airbuses. And to cut things short, you can use this checklist. It's been prepared by this particular person here, and it will help us through certain parts. Some of the things that the voice will read out, you have to actually click into the box yourself, but most of it progresses to the next one. And before we open up, just to mention, it is a female first officer we have, and that's simply because I'm running Windows 7. The text-to-speech default is only a female voice. If you've got Windows 10, I believe, you can change that around so you can have both men and women and different accents. I don't have a problem with this. I'm more interested in the fact that it helps me out going through the systems and getting this aircraft up to running from cold and dark. So here we go.
Cockpit preparation checklist. Parking brake. Set. Battery. On and locked. Position lights. On. The emergency exit lights. Arm. No smoking signs. On. Request GPU.
Okay, let's get our GPU, eh? Now here's a case where you've got to fill it in after you've requested it.
External powered bus left and right. Both on. Start pumped. On. APU start. Started. APU powered bus left and right.
Okay, that'll come on once the APU gauge meter, whatever you want to call it, comes all the way down to around to 100, and while that's happening, we'll do all our loading. We'll go over to the fuel and load page. SimBrief has given me all the loading figures, so we'll just go ahead and do that. Fuel. We have 24375 pounds. Our payload. And our trip fuel will be right, so that enters those in. We'll get our zero fuel weights here, and our gross weight and our landing weight that figure there has to be a good idea to start off with it being lower than the actual maximum landing weight allowable, but by the time you get to the destination that figure will be way down. You shouldn't have any problems there. So straight away we may as well start loading the fuel. We can expedite it rather than wait for it to take about 15-20 minutes. Same thing with cargo passengers. You always see the pending sign here for the loading the fuel because the APU is actually using fuel, so it's not a static amount. Now we can move that out of the way for the moment, and we're all ready to put on our bus left and right
Both
of the
on.
APU.
Tapped right fuel pumped. On. External powered bus left and right. Both off. Dismiss GPU.
Another one we've got to fill in ourselves, so tick the box.
Dismissed. HP bleed.
We don't need that anymore.
Both on. Galley. On. Windshield anti-fog. On. Windshield anti-ice. On. IRS1 and mode.
And it should have picked that up. We'll try that again. Usually she goes to the next one.
Both NAV. Yaw damper. On. Logo light. On.
But we don't need
Radio
it. I'll
rack.
turn it off. Radar rack.
Fan. Cabin pressure.
Cabin pressure is set. It's auto. Another one box to
Set.
tick.
Altimeter.
Okay. Altimeter. And looking at active sky. Osaka Airport is 230 degrees, a wind of 5 knots. QNH is 1016. We'll do our lighting while we're here. Just double checked, I think it was 1016.
Set. Fuel used reset. Reset. Hydraulic pumps 1 and 2. Both low. Takeoff condition.
Well, center of gravity at this stage is at 0, so as the flaps set at 0. We just ticked that.
CG 0 and flap 0. Transponder 2000 and standby mode.
I'll leave it on
Checklist complete.
I'll leave it on 2000.
FMS assistant. Red airport.
As I was saying, I'll leave it on 2000 because ATC aren't on here. This is your FMS checklist, but you don't really need to do it if you know how to fill out the FMC.
Before start checklist.
Okay.
APU lead air.
So we don't need to do that until we go through our FMC. So Osaka is Romeo, Juliet, Oscar, Oscar. And Naha, where we're going to Yokohama, it's Romeo, Oscar, Alpha Hotel. So company route, care of SimBrief, we've got. And our flight number is going to be, for Japan Air Systems, it's Juliet Alpha Sierra. And it'll be flight 123. We activate that. We don't execute until our IRS is aligned and the PFD's been entered. So we go to perfect. Now, because we've already loaded our fuel, cargo and passengers, all we have to do is click these. We've got 3 for our reserve. Cost index will be 50. Now SimBrief says flight level 340. We'll see what happens. So maximum altitude 330. Alright, we'll clear that. And we'll go for 320. That's okay. Our upper level cruising winds will be 0, and that'll be 072. Outside temperatures 20 degrees. Transition altitude is 14,000. What did I say it was? 20, okay, 20. Now I can derate this aircraft, and to do that we go up to, see if I can keep it all in the same. Here we've got this assumed temperature thing here. If we turn it, you'll see that the figures down there on the FMC change. So we can derate it up to, I think the top figure is 49. I'm going to derate it to say 45. And one thing we then got to do is we've got to turn off the automatic, let's have a look, I'll get that up so we can see it. It's the automatic reverser. We're going to turn that off. Right, let's get back down to where we were. Okay, so that part's takeoff's all done, but now we've got to get our V-speeds in. 2 ways to do it, and I've got the chart in front of me here that rotate to. You can either fill them in manually, or you wait until later and your flaps are in your takeoff position, and then you just fill it in. Now for starters, our aircraft's aligned now, the PFD's alive, so we can execute. You cannot do that until that PFD's alive. So we look at our gross weight, and it's 135 pounds. And looking at our chart, we can go to say 134. And we're going to take a flaps 11, so we're going to be V1 at 134. VR is 139. And V2 is 148. So that's done and dusted. Alright, let's look at our, we'll execute that, and let's have a look at our departure. And we'll go up to active sky, and have a look at our briefing. Now it's not giving a candidate runway, but just going from the wind here, we've got 230 degrees, so what we can do here is bring up our Avitab, which is unfortunately not integrated within the rotate, but you bring it down from your plugins. So I can see no weather information available there. I don't know why that is, but anyway, it's our runways, but we'll have a look at the airport. Okay, airport. There we are, parked there on our apron, and wind direction was 230, I believe. That'd be sort of coming from this way, so it looks like the runway, what is it, 14 right or 14 left will be our departure. Have a look at our departures, and I think just have a look here at the look down there. We've got a Tiger 2 SID that we could probably use. We'll have a look at that. Okay, here's our airport. Here's a runway, 14 left will be up here, and down here we go to Tiger. And then we've got Osaka 4. There's Osaka 4. Okay, so that looks pretty good. We can move this out of the way again. So 14 left we'll take, and we'll go for the Tiger 2 departure. Executed. Legs. And we've got a disco after Tiger. That's a RJOO, that's on our list, so put that in there. And we'll go and run it through the modes. I'll execute that. There we are, that's better. Let's just go back one. Run through it. Quite a lot of waypoints down to Okinawa. Here we go again. Intercept, Tiger, Awaji, Sunny, Cree, Susak, Akito, Suk. Look at that. Mad Dog. Now isn't that ironic? We're flying the Mad Dog and we've got a Mad Dog waypoint. Alright, only thing we can do now is go back and get the menu up and put our takeoff there, because we're going to have to do our centre of gravity and our long trim in a minute. But now that the FMC is all done, we can get back to our procedures.
On HP lead 1 aught PUX feed valve left and right, both open. Doors.
Okay, let's slip outside and we can get rid of the ground handling. And then we can close our doors. Cargo doors closing. Forward door closing. I might just clear these guys off altogether. That's it, they're gone. Back into the aircraft. Okay, all the doors are closed.
All closed. Throttle. Idle. Galley. Off. Aft and FWD fuel pumps. Left and right on. Center fuel pumps.
We've got center fuel, so those pumps could come on too. But we have to fill
AS
that box.
required. HP bleed. Both off. Hydraulic pumps 1 and 2. Both low.
Good.
Hydraulic pumps on. Hydraulic hawks on. Position and strobe lights both on. Anti-foul light on. Transponder. XBDR mode. Checklist complete. FCU. Flight director. On. Max bank angle. 15 degrees. Heading runway track.
Runway track for 14 left from my navigraph from my little nav map is 143 degrees. That's one you've got to tick the box for.
Set departure altitude.
Let's just set that for 10. Oh, overshot there. Again, tick the box.
Set speed.
Okay, speed for the MD for departure is 250 knots and not V1 speed plus. You can drag or just scroll. Again, click the box.
Engine start checklist.
That means
ignition switch SYS8.
Okay, it's ready for startup, but first off, of course, we want to get ourselves a pushback. And going to Avi tab, looking at our airport. We want to be pushing back, turning that way, and taking this taxiway, which is A4. Well, it's a runway alpha, I'd say. So turn to the left. So time to call the pushback. And delete that section, delete that one.
Ground to cockpit, plan acknowledged. Call me through the menu when you are ready. Ground to cockpit, tow is driving up.
Okay, while we're waiting for the tow, we can do our long trim. So 11 is the center of gravity. So CG 11, we're going to be using flaps 11. Long trim is between 6 and 7. Let's bring it down. That's it there. It's got to be dead level. So that little pointer there should match up with that notch exactly.
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed, ready to connect.
So that good time, we can go back to our legs on that.
So connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake. Starting pushback, and you may start engine.
On. The engine start right. On. Fuel valve right.
And we don't open the fuel valve until the M2 rises. So let's go down and have a look at that. Right hand engine. N2's got to be 2021.
Open. The engine start left.
And we don't start the left engine until the buses come on. I'll switch over to engine. The rotate comes with those left on. Normally you'd have to do yourself. So there's that one's just come in. Now we can start the left engine.
On. Fuel valve left.
Let's see how we're going with our pushback. I'll get rid of that little message down below. Back inside and have a look at our N2 for the left engine.
Open. Checklist complete. After start checklist. Ignition switch.
We don't turn that until we hear that other bus kick in then, which you will in a minute. And there it goes. So we can turn off our ignition switch.
Off. The engine start.
And switch those off.
Both off. APU delete air. Off. APU powered bus left and right. Both off. APU off. Galley on. Fuel heat.
We don't require that here, but only in sort of cold climates.
AS required. Ice protect meter full heat. Kept. Hydraulic pumps 1 and 2. Both high. PNUX feed valve left and right. Both closed. HP bleed. Both auto. Speed brake. On. Takeoff condition.
Well, we set those just before with center of gravity and flaps.
CG and flaps set.
And that was
Trim.
the trim as well.
Set. Flaps.
So we're going for flaps 11. Tick the box.
Takeoff. Auto brake selector. Takeoff. Checklist complete. Taxi out checklist. Seat belts. On. Nose light. Dim. Timer. Run. Parking brake. Release. Brakes. Checked. Flight controls.
Okay, let's do our flight controls. Move that out of the way. Let's see our pedals.
Operation complete. Set parking brake.
Check.
Disconnecting tow.
Weather radar
Standby.
WX flashed cast. Set. Transponder. TAW/array mode. Transponder direction.
Another one to
Above.
tick.
Auto brake mode. Arm. Oral config warning.
Nothing there to worry about. Don't worry about the flight recorder, doesn't work. And that's that automatic reverse. Looks like it's inoperative. Well, yes, I did disconnect it.
Tow is disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal will be on the right. We'll see you next time and have a great flight.
And while he's going, there's one thing that's not included in that checklist, and this is what you're supposed to do. You go to the gross weight here and you hold it down, and you're supposed to then slide it across and put in what the zero fuel weight is. And in this case, it doesn't look like it works, because I think it's because I've got it derated. Usually what you do is you hold down, pull that across, the numbers will then tick up the same as tick up until you get to your zero fuel weight, which in this case would be 111203. But you see, it's close enough, so it's not something to worry about. I'm not quite sure, but I don't think that works while you've got while you derate. I might be wrong.
Takeoff checklist. Ignition switch both.
Okay, we don't need that because we're not ready to take off. We're just ready to taxi. And I think I've got to release the brake. Yep. Now I might bring up the oh, I don't know what happened to the sound up here. There it is. I'll bring up the sound a bit because it's a little bit too low. I think that should be okay. Well, now we'll see whether our long trim is okay, and to do that, test that, we increase the throttle by a fair amount very quickly, and if there's a problem, Betty will let you know. So forward, back, No problem. It's a fairly long taxi. I figure that by using that checklist with the co-pilot, probably save about third to half of the time. Now we can bring her back up again.
On landing, lights left and right. Both on. Nose light. Bright. EPR mode.
That's the box to fill.
Takeoff. Toga.
Okay, there's our toga button coming on now. But you've got to tick the box.
On. Auto throttles. On. Takeoff and informations. Positive climb. Gear up.
We don't need that. Now we watch our bug here, 4V1, which is the first bug. Straighten it up a bit. SB's well alive. And with V1, rotate. And it's positive rate. Gear up. And we'll watch our route. And we'll start the turn. Some manual trim in here. Quick look at the outside. Okay, let's go over here. and we'll put our nav on. We'll put our climb on. We'll go to autopilot. Watch our speed at 180. We can take the first flap up. It's starting now to climb up to 250.
Stabilizer motion.
We'll hit VNAV. As long as we've got climb, VNAV, nav track, we should be right. Speed will start to climb up. You can do this another way. You can actually do vertical speed, then IAS, indicated airspeed, and we can take our flaps all the way up. Now the first officer could be doing that while the pilot would be just keeping an eye on flying the aircraft. And looks like we're on course okay. We don't have to wait until we get to 10,000 to level off. May as well put our height down to 32,000. And while it's doing that, we can bring her up again.
Up, no lights. All above okay? Yes. Checklist complete. Climb checklist. EPR mode.
Now that was what I clicked on before. That's your EPR mode on climb.
Centiliters. Auto brake selector. Off. Ignition switch. Off. Speed brake. Retracted. Hydraulic pumps trans. Off. Hydraulic hawks. Off. Nose light. Off. Landing lights left and right.
Well, we're coming up to 10,000, so that's just about the right time.
Both off. Seat belt sign. Auto. Checklist complete. Cruise checklist. EPR mode.
Right, we're not up to cruise height, so we can put that away. Now we're going for speed. We're up to just over 250 knots, and we're past the 10,000 foot mark, so what we should now see is the aircraft speeding up, and it should, in 2 nautical miles, it should start to speed up 290 knots. And it's just about there. So we're cooking. just noticed that the frame rates aren't exactly crash hot, and I think that's the latest X-Plane version. I normally get 30, 40 and sometimes 50 here, so I don't know what's going on there, but might be OBS taking a lot. And we're on a course of 225 degrees, so let's just set this heading to 225. And we've got the green banana telling us where we're going to reach flight level 320. You're climbing at 2,000, just under, yeah, just slightly over. Was that under? Slightly under 2,000 feet, 1,800 feet a minute there. And we've always got to check the panel here to make sure we've got VNAV climb, nav track, our altitude height, the FMS, and EPR. So I think at this point I'll just pause the recording, let the aircraft to get up to cruising height, and I'll come back to do some further recording when we get close to the point of top of descent, and have a look and see what our star's going to be and what the weather conditions are likely to be at Okinawa. And here we are back again, flying along at our cruising height of 320, and just looking at our progress. We've got about 135 nautical miles to top descent and 249 nautical miles to Naha. So we better start looking at our star. So have a look at active sky. Weather's still all right. Okay, ROAH, Naha, Romeo Oscar Alpha Hotel, Winds are from 360 degrees at 13 knots. Got a few clouds at 350. It's scattered. Outside temperature 24 and QNH is 1016, which I'll make a note of. Candidate runway 36. Have a look at that on our Abby tab. Yeah, no weather available in that one either on the, I think that's Naha actually. I think that's what Avitab uses, but anyway. Next to the airport first off. Airport information. And it was runway 3636. Well, we'll be coming in from this direction, so it looks like it'll be a bit of a downwind, perhaps. Let's see what our arrival's all about. I'll just go down and have a look at our final last waypoint. I hate India Hotel Echo Yankee Alpha. You can't see anything there. Maybe another way from Prius, no. Well, let's just have a look south, go to one of the north ones. Nothing there, Coral North, no arrivals there to help us. I think there's here, that might be the one. Should have seen that before. That's the Romeo Oscar Alpha Hotel arrival, 10-2B. There's a wire high up there, but we're probably going to have to find another one for that. Let's yeah, we're probably coming in from the south. This hopefully should be the one. That's it. That looks like it. Okay. High Hassa down to Low Hass and back up to that runway 36. At our arrival, at our approaches. ILS or localizer runway 36. I'll be coming in there. our ILS R6 there. Sorry, that'll be the ILS for runway 36. Coral, what was it? Yes. No transition. Let's see how we go here. Looks like right. Just make sure we're our top descent's 128. So we've still got a way to go there. Go back to our legs. We can just move this out of the way for the moment. Let's go to our modes. Step it through. There we go. Good. Waypoint alert, yeah, okay, I got it. You should see our top of descent, there it is. Good one. And just checking here, we've got our outside temperature at minus 21 degrees, and we've got our engine ice on just to be on the safe side. Our QNH is Barrow is set for 1013. So what we can do now is we can bring up our Avi tab again and have a closer look at what's the situation here. First up, we've got our frequency and our approach course. And it's 110.3. And our final approach course is 02. And go over and do the other side. .3 110.3 and 2. I shouldn't have put 1. I thought I made a mistake. That's better. So missed approach, climb to 500 on a heading of 02, which is runway heading, and then turn left out, bend via the HCVOR on radial 341 degrees to 1000. Maintain out of below 1000 until VOR radial 341 DME 15 decimal 0, but that's proceed, etc., etc. Okay. Elevation, approximate elevation is 11 feet. Pretty well sea level. That means we won't have to adjust our landing altitude. May as well put it to 0 because that's 100 feet. And while we're here, we may as well set our QNH for landing. It's in inches, so I'll just have to go to the map. So now it's changed to 1017 QNH hectopascals, but it's 30.03 inches. 30. set now. That's our landing barometer setting. Good. So it looks like our initial approach fix has got to be at 2,000 feet. Just got to keep an eye on our top of descent here. There's still a way to go. Make sure I don't want to miss it. 95. So 2,000 feet for our initial approach, and for straight in landing ILS decision altitude is 292, and that's Barrow. I won't bother setting the radio height, which is 283. Just go by Barrow. Okay, so that's done. Let's just go back here and we can keep an eye on our approach. Now VREF. .40 degrees at 128 knots plus 5. That's 133 landing speed. Might have to do a wind correction there. I think I'll go ahead and put our initial approach altitude in. There's no ATC to vector us down to any altitude, so unless they come online, we'll just go straight to our IAF. Just going over, look at that wind direction again. Just checking to see that that microphone volume is okay. I can't tell. I hope it's okay. Degrees and pretty well on the nose. I think this is how you do it. Well, we'll find out. There's a bit of a headwind there. Sorry, crosswind. Let's have a look. Yeah, 58 knots. Just about everything works on this aircraft. You got our battery voltage and our battery amperage. speed warning tests, stall tests, got it all. And we must be just about ready to descend. Not quite. Yeah, just about right now. Can't complain about the weather. There we go, commencing our descent. And one thing I have noticed too with the MD-80, unlike in the 737-800, you get no request for speed brakes. The first thing you'd know about going too fast is you'd get the overspeed warning. But I think it's basically a case of keeping your eyes on the speed. Make sure you don't overspeed, and it's up to you as the pilot to apply the speed brake. So we're heading down, and 2 nautical miles from Prius, another 12 nautical miles to Ihia. Speed should be down to 254 by then, so we'll watch that. And already it's set itself to that. Okay, so now we're descending, we can bring up the checklist. We've done our cabin pressure and landing elevation, we set that before.
Set. Checklist complete. Descent checklist. Altitude.
We set that for our IAF.
Set. EPR mode.
That goes to climb, even though we're descending. Just meant they didn't have to put in an extra button.
Centimeters. Transponder direction. Below. Cabin pressure and landing elevation.
They've set that.
Set. Engine sync. Off. Seat belt sign.
Well, yeah, I suppose we can put it on. Saves doing it later. Get our passengers settled in.
On. Landing lights left and right.
We don't need those yet. We're still only at roughly 230 altitude. Our speed settled in nicely. It'll be 240 all the way down to waypoint Kelly. We'd probably see Kelly here. There it is in there. But it's going to be getting close to finals. Now what I might do is also I'm going to set the heading to match the course. Doing it the long way, but one thing to be very careful about with that heading switch, if you accidentally hit that while you're doing something here, it'll go straight into heading mode, which means if you're set at some different degrees than what you're traveling, yeah, it'll take off in that direction. You can see I've got some ortho there. And as we get down a little bit closer to Okinawa, over here, you might catch sight of the Caden Air Force Base, where a lot of United States aircraft are located. And from what I understand, when they do a lot of their patrols to see what the Chinese Navy is doing and what North Korea are up to, that's one of the bases where they come out of, so I understand. They also come out of northern Japan. So this particular air base is probably used more to cover the South China Sea. There's another airport over there. And we'll just double check our QNH to make sure it hasn't changed. Yeah, 1017. I'll set that in a minute when we reach transition height 14,000. And so far we're holding our speed well, so we're not having to use the speed brake yet. So now we're showing on the Avitab map. At 2,000 feet seems a little bit low for an initial approach fix. sort of used to it being 3,000 feet. There's our missed approach. So it's there's the 341 degrees if we've got to go to a holding point up here. Alright, we should start to see the airbase over here. And that's it there. Caden. Romeo Oscar Delta November. We should be landing over here. I think that's the airport, the runway over there, I think. Looks like it. Our speed's jumped up a bit. We should be doing 240. We'll just watch that. We've got all these waypoints to get down to 240, so no rush yet. 10,000 feet, let's put on our landing lights.
Both on. Checklist complete. Approach and landing checklist. Ignition switch both.
So you don't need to do that just yet. Probably when we start to make the turn there at ROAH. And the green banana's telling us we're going to be at 2,000 feet just after that. Speed's still got to come down. Although it says here that still can be 240 at 3,000 and above. Got another 4,000 odd feet to go. I might start to slow it up at about 5,000. Let's see what happens. In fact, I think I just might do that. Not all the way back, just two speed brake settings. Now speed's starting to come down. Okay, let's get our ignition switch to both.
On. Hydraulic pumps on. Hydraulic box. On. Gear down.
Nope, not yet. I could probably use a bit more speed brake. turn. Looks like our localizer's starting to fire up. Okay, let's go back off the speed brake and see whether we can hold the 240. Localizer's starting to really move around. Let's have a look at our turns. Nice. And our speed is still holding 240. Nearly at our initial approach fix. It's probably going to grab the localizer, the ILS, very quickly. So I'm going to take our first flap. That's our runway coming up there. Keep an eye on that the approach. We can actually activate the ILS now. And what I'm going to do is do an override and bring our speed down. Say to 185. You should see the ILS activated very shortly. We need to slow her down. Gear down.
Green lights. Flaps. Landing. Nose light. Bright. Speed brake. On. Auto brake selector. Max. Auto brake mode.
Coming in too fast. We'll go manual, drop the speed back. My aircraft. Speed's coming down now nicely. Probably a little bit too fast. I'll bring her up a bit. Manual trim.
300. 200.
That was a fast approach. let's see how we go.
100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Oh. Well, I caught that in time. That was hot. I didn't even get time to arm the auto brake. Wouldn't arm for some reason. But we pulled up, no problem. Think we can turn off here? No, just up here. Looks like maintenance that side. And what we can do is we can clean her up here.
Arm. Checklist complete. Taxi and checklist. Ignition switch. Off. Ice protect meter full heat. Off. Landing lights left and right. Both off. Nose light. Dim. Flight director. Off. Position lights.
That should come on. Oh, it goes
On.
up one.
Speed brake. Retracted. Flaps. Retracted. Transponder. XVDR mode. Weather radar. Off. APU start. Started. APU powered bus left and right.
Well, when they come on, let's just find ourselves somewhere to pull up. That's the only bit about the checklist I don't particularly like. It leaves you sitting, waiting to get out of the way. I think everything's down to the left-hand side there, so we'll travel down there. Taxi our way down there. See what they've got in the way of a gate, which I don't know whether they do or not, but we'll see. Never flown into this airport before. There's an F-16 over there. Quite a number of static aircraft that don't look like they've got wings. Oh yes, they do. And there's some gates in here, so I'm not sure if there's auto gate available, but oh, there's somebody there. One here. think it's gate 23 by the look of it. Do we have auto gate? Don't have a marshaller. We don't have auto gate. Go around the other side and see if I can line her up. MD-80 here. Set our parking brake.
Both on. Nose light. Off. Checklist complete. Parking checklist. Parking brake. Set. HP bleed. Both off. Fuel valve. Both closed. Fuel pumps. Fall off except aft are on. Hydraulic pumps 1 and 2. Both low. Hydraulic pumps trans. Off. Hydraulic locks. Off. Anti-foul light. Off. Seat belts. Off. Transponder. $2,000 and standby mode. Request GPU.
No, we won't do that. What I'll do now is go outside and replay the landing to see what it looks like. It doesn't look like there's auto gate here at all. They didn't come across. Let's have a quick look at the landing. Let's see how it was. Why the wheels aren't showing down. Unless I left it very late. Yes. There they go. Oh, wasn't too bad at all, and the nose wasn't overly high. Not bad at all, even if I say so myself. Let's go and have a look at that. Didn't even flip the wings. Not too far off the centre line. Now let's have another quick look at end of the runway. We weren't bothered too much by any crosswind there. Oh, like somebody I know says cool beans. And one more from the tower and we can call it a day. Quite happy with that. I think we might just leave it at that, and I'll finish the recording and I'll close the aircraft down. I hope those of you who watched it enjoyed it, and like I said at the beginning, I ran this flight basically to show how to use the checklist to help with operating the aircraft, rather than trying to do it all by yourself. So it's welcome to Naha Airport, Okinawa, and it's goodbye from me. See ya.